What are some of the pros and cons of hiking southbound on the Appalachian Trail instead of hiking northbound? And also, what motivates someone to decide to hike the AT anyway? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to share with you some of my motivations and some of my logistics of my southbound through hike of the Appalachian Trail. Hello, welcome to another episode of Baystate Backcountry. I'm your host, Bob Tremblay. Today's episode is part 3 of a 3-part series that I've done on my 1981 southbound through hike of the Appalachian Trail. The first 2 episodes were about the gear and the equipment that I brought. Today's episode, we're going to get into the expedition itself. Specifically, I want to talk about why we chose to go southbound over northbound. Also going to talk about what my motivations were, what inspired me to hike the Appalachian Trail back in 1981. And then we're also going to talk about the trip itself. I've got a whole bunch of pictures. We'll look at some pictures. You'll see some old pictures from the expedition. And then we'll conclude with a look back at what did, looking back over the decades, what was the outcome? What did I get out of my experience on the AT? So, stay tuned. I'll have a little table of contents for you, and we'll get into it, some details about my through hike of the Appalachian Trail. So we'll start off with some real basic details. So my through hike of the AT was a southbound, or what they now call a SOBO through hike. We started on Mount Katahdin in Maine, and we hiked down to Springer Mountain in Georgia. We began on August 1st, 1981, and we reached Springer Mountain on January 1st of 1982. I was 18 years old at the time. I went with 3 of my neighborhood friends who are all the same age. So there was myself, Jeff, Dave, and Steve. Our through hike took a total of 154 days. We only took 1 0 day. And because we were going between August and January, we actually spent a number of holidays on the trail, including Labor Day, Columbus Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve. In addition to my 3 friends, we also hiked with my dog, my Shepherd Husky Cross, named Kane, and she did actually 500 miles with us. So she started at Mount Katahdin with us, and she hiked all the way to North Adams in Massachusetts before going home with my parents. So now the question is, we're often asked, is why do we choose to go southbound on the AT? Most people will start in Georgia and go to Maine, starting in the spring and following the summer up to Maine. By starting in the north, we actually started in August and hiked through the end of summer and the fall into early winter, ending in January. So why do we do that? Well, one of the reasons was just available time. Because we were all 18 years old, we were still in high school and we were waiting to graduate. And so once we graduated in early June, well, then we were free to begin our hike. So we never could have begun in March or April with the northbound crew. So part of it was that. Another reason was just proximity to home. We all grew up and lived in Massachusetts. New England was our home, and so starting in Maine was just logistically closer, and we were just more comfortable and familiar with New England, and so starting close to home just kind of felt more natural to us. We also really wanted the cooler weather. All of us have done a lot of backpacking, and including a lot of winter backpacking, even at that young age. I had already summited Mount Washington in the middle of winter many times at age of 17. And so we wanted the cooler weather, so it was intentional starting in the north. We knew we would have cooler weather. Another thing was very much on our mind was that we wanted to have less hikers. We really wanted to be out there and have the trail to ourselves as much as possible. So all those factors went into our decision to be southbound hikers on the AT. So what were my motivations for hiking the Appalachian Trail? I actually decided to through hike the AT when I first saw it when I was 12 years old, and we were camping in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And at the age of 12, I became obsessed with the idea of the Appalachian Trail. And what really motivated me was this desire for adventure. Um, I grew up in a great family with parents and all four of my grandparents, and really was a very supporting home life. But I was really, with that support, I was really looking forward to having my own adventures, getting out of suburban Massachusetts and getting out someplace and having adventures. I liked watching westerns and Jeremiah Johnson, and so the idea of being an outdoorsman and adventuring outside was really compelling to me. And so I made the decision at 12 and started preparing for the AT. So 6 years later, I was able to do it. So adventure was my first motivation. My other one, which I couldn't really articulate at the time, was really at 18 years old, I was really ready to kind of be out on my own. And so I wasn't really thinking of getting a job and living out on my own. I was looking more at just kind of living by myself and being independent in the outdoors. And so the idea of hiking for 2,000 miles without a roof over my head was really the ultimate expression of independence to me. So this desire to be independent at 18 years of age motivated me to hike the AT. So here we are, 42 years after my thru hike. And what did I ultimately get out of it? Well, it's no exaggeration to say that my thru hike of the AT set the entire course of my life. Following the AT, I ended up going to school for outdoor leadership and outdoor recreation. And I started my own company, leading people on outdoor trips. I became a licensed guide and a certified rock climbing instructor, a certified whitewater instructor. And so professionally, I've been doing the outdoors and sharing my passion and love of the outdoors with other people and other students my entire adult life. And when I'm not working, I'm just doing the same thing on my own time. And so really, it was an unbelievably important experience for me. It was great at the time, and it really was an investment in myself, and it defined who I am. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Very soon, I'll be posting another video with a complete set of pictures from my thru hike from beginning to end, from Maine all the way to Georgia. So you can expect to see that in about a week. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the trail soon.